Hello, this is Keith, welcoming you to the 1993rd edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline the 5th of March 2015. The readers this week are Janet, Sally, Colin and Keith, with Robin on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Ferdinand Bouillon and Harry Breu. It's performed by Jean-Jacques Perry and is used with his kind permission. Local stories include I Am Very Lucky to Still Have Him and Campaigners Seek Answers Over Mansion House. First of all, the special news items for this week. The Enfield Macular Disease Support Group meets on the second Wednesday of every month from 10 a.m. to 12 noon at the Trinity Church Hall, Gentleman's Row, Enfield, EN2 6AN. The meetings are open to anyone affected by central vision loss. Carers are welcomed too. For further details, please contact Alan Newson on 020 886 5659. That's Alan Newson on 020 8886 5659. The Home Library Service is part of Enfield Libraries and provides a delivery service to people living in the borough who are unable to visit a branch library due to age, mobility, disability or their caring responsibilities. We visit each of our members every 4 weeks. The service is free and we will tailor it to your taste. For visually impaired people, we can provide books in large print or recorded books on CD or cassette. We can also bring music on CD or films on DVD for people with some vision. Members are free to reserve particular items. If you would like to join the Home Library Service or know someone who would, please call 01992 716 010 and we will arrange for the Community Access Librarian to visit you. That number again, 01992 716 010. If you're experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and she will be pleased to help you. That's Diane de Jersey and her number is 020 8805 6578. Now Sally will read the first item of local news.
A heroic bus station manager admitted he was left emotionally drained after saving a 14-month-old baby when he started to choke. The drama began when Mum Ruby Byrne from Enfield noticed her son Danny was struggling in his buggy while they were out in Waltham Cross. She said, "Usually his legs might shake if he was cold, so I went to pick him up and realised that something much worse was wrong. He started going into a fit. His eyes were not moving and he went stiff and I started to panic. I asked a man behind me for help, but he didn't say anything, so I ran across to the bus depot and cried for help. The desperate mother raced to the Waltham Cross bus depot where Hassan Polat came to her rescue. Mr. Polat, a station supervisor, said, "I saw the lady coming up screaming there was something wrong with her baby. The baby was completely blue and I hit the baby's back, but that didn't work. I then saw that his tongue was blocking his airways, so I tried my best to move it off his airway and I put him in the recovery position and he came back to normal. As Mr. Polat revived Danny, a colleague dialed 999 and paramedics took the toddler to hospital. Unfortunately, this was not the end of the ordeal for Mrs. Byrne, as Danny then had a second fit on the way to hospital. She said, "It was scary. I thought I was going to lose him. I did not know what to do with myself. He then had another fit in the ambulance, which was terrifying. The hospital later said it was because he had tonsillitis. I am very lucky to still have him. The guys at the station saved my baby's life." Speaking after the incident, Mr. Polat said he felt emotionally drained and was almost reduced to tears of relief after saving Danny's life. He said, It's not something I expected to be doing in my job. I have done first aid, but I have only been here for a year. It was emotionally draining, that's for sure. I just tried to keep a clear mind. Once it was all done, I felt like I was going to cry. It was very emotional.
The security company with the task of protecting Trent Park's iconic mansion house has revealed that a mystery developer has signed a legally binding agreement to buy it. Campaigners fighting to prevent it from being permanently closed to the public are set to hold a crisis summit. A spokeswoman for English Heritage confirmed that the building off Snakes Lane, Cockfosters, has been placed on its at-risk list. But a spokesman for First Call Secure Group told the Advertiser that the sale of the property, which was previously bought from Middlesex University by Malaysian University Alliance University College of Medical Sciences for £30 million in August 2013, is days away from completion. He said reports that the Grade 2 listed building, part of which dates back to the 18th century, was in the hands of liquidators, were unfounded. AUCMS never moved into Mansion House and appointed FCSG to look after the site in November 2013 to protect it from opportunist thieves looking to plunder the vacant building and its grounds. The uncertainty surrounding the future of the building spawned the Save Trent Park campaign, which is calling for public access to the site to be guaranteed. Coordinated by Jason Sharalumbus, a Cockfosters ward councillor, and David Burrows, Enfield Southgate's MP, an online petition calling on the council to take action had attracted almost 1,500 signatures at the time of going to press. Now, as the campaign gathers pace, the two men have set up a public meeting at Christchurch in Chalk Lane, Cockfosters, with guest speakers including Friends of Trent Park Chairman Peter Gibbs, Trent Park Specialist Dr Helen Fry, and Royal Institute of British Architects Council member Elena Solkis. An Enfield Council officer will also be on hand to take questions from the floor. Fears are growing after it emerged that there has been no electricity to the building for at least a year, meaning it could be vulnerable to damp. The campaigners also say the site has been damaged by film crews recording a comedy and a period drama. The FCSG spokesman told the Advertiser there are far too many people out there who do not know what is going on. It is nice to be offered the chance to set the record straight. The site is sold subject to a legally binding agreement. It is a very emotive site. It is a cracking site. But it is not true that the owners have gone into liquidation. We are running the whole site on their behalf. It is true that film crews have been allowed to use it, but it has not been damaged, and some of the money from that has been used to improve Snakes Lane. We did not know the owners had money problems when they hired us. I cannot give more details, but we expect the sale to be completed within days. Mr. Charamlumbus, a property lawyer by trade, said, "This is certainly news to us, but until they have exchanged contracts, it is not legally binding. No one would buy the site without carrying out due diligence and checks. If that has been the case, the council would have been in the loop. So, unless it has been sold for a song to a developer happy to take a risk to get a bargain, it isn't sold. There is no reason why a new owner would necessarily want to shut Mansion House to the public. Middlesex University didn't. I grew up around the corner from Trent Park, and I would be involved in this campaign even if I wasn't a councillor. This isn't a political issue. We want it declared an asset of community value under the Localism Act 2011.
After the shock announcement earlier this year that the Labour MP for Edmonton will not be standing for re-election, there was no shortage of hopefuls bidding for a chance to fight for the seat. The woman who emerged victorious from the race to be named the party's prospective parliamentary candidate as Kate Honorsmore, who was elected by Labour Party members in the constituency with more than 50% of the vote at the first count. A relatively unknown to some, the union activist saw off bids from Kate Anulu, former Enfield Mayor and Councillor, as well as Aoife Orhan, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Children and Young People. Andy Love, who is stepping down, has been Edmonton's for 18 years, and the seat is generally considered to be a safe bet for Labour, which means that the community organiser and activist could be on the verge of following in the footsteps of the 3 black women currently in Parliament. Speaking to the Advertiser in the week after her selection, she revealed that it will be her connection to the voters which will be her secret weapon in the fight ahead. First and foremost, it's an honour to have been chosen by the party members in Edmonton, she said. The majority of the leaders of the parties at the moment haven't gone to the local comprehensive school, haven't been brought up in a single-parent household, haven't lived off benefits, haven't relied on social housing. All of those things that I have seen at first hand in my own community. The people currently at the top of the political parties simply have no experience of that. She said that the fact that she will always stay connected to the people at the core of Edmonton, not just those who traditionally engage with politics, will be her focus in the weeks ahead in the run-up to the general election in May. In my politics, because of my own experiences, I will always remember that some people will never ever be able to afford to buy a house, but they need a home, she said. Some people were brought up in single-parent homes, and there was nothing wrong with that. In fact, it was maybe better than somewhere where there were 2 parents because there was love and stability. Rather than criticise single-parent households, I would say that we have to make sure that the people living in the homes are always paid a living wage, because for that family to work, money has to be on the table. That's why I'm different, because I would never forget those things. I have friends who have direct experience of this. The activist believes that speaking to voters rather than talking down to them is the only way to counteract apathy. She explained, "Someone's got to say, 'I'm going to fight.' If not, we will get more people not voting, more people disengaging, and more people will feel that there is no point in voting. But if they don't vote, nothing will change." When I speak to people who might not be drawn to politics, they say, "Oh, actually, I agree with you," because me talking about it normalises it. Whether or not she wins, Edmonton's next MP is unlikely to be in the typical politician mould. Conservative Gonu Daniels is a mum of 3 who set up South West Enfield Action Team to lobby the council for more primary school places in the west of the borough. Douglas Coker for the Greens led the fight for speed ramps in Hoppers Road, Winchmore Hill, amongst other traffic battles in the borough. The prospective parliamentary candidate for the Liberal Democrats is David Schmitz, while UKIP's prospective parliamentary candidate is Neville Watson. In 2010, Conservatives came second to Labour with 29.8% of the vote.
The Edible Garden Show will burst into bloom at Alexandra Palace from March the 20th to the 22nd, alongside a fantastic new lifestyle event, Good Life Live. Timed for the start of the growing season, the Edible Garden Show introduces exciting new features and attractions to its popular plot-to-plate format, while continuing to inspire everyone from novices to dedicated gardeners with its fertile mix of celebrity speakers and interactive advice sessions. Meanwhile, Good Life Live will extend the concept beyond the plot and showcase a broader range of outdoor living experiences and adventures, from country pursuits and home comforts to smallholding and livestock. There will be lots of interactive sessions for children where they can get their hands dirty, learn to create wooden badges, bake bread, make their own butter in the Make It area. They can hold baby chicks in the chicken coop, have a field day on the village green, or in the pop-up city farm, or get creative in the family zone. On Saturday, March the 21st, CBeebies Mr. Bloom will be popping along to the Experts Theatre to say, "Hello, tiddlers," with a bundle of veggie stories, gardening games and catchy songs in a high-energy show. Joining Mr. Bloom at the show are award-winning TV botanist James Wong, author, TV and radio presenter Pippa Greenwood, chef, forager and wild food expert Mark Lloyd, gardening expert Paul Peacock, flamboyant popular chef Rachel Green, and Jonathan Mosley from the BBC's Big Allotment Challenge.
The youth vote may have helped Labour to a landslide victory when a Scout group held a mini-election. Conservative candidate and current Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows, Pemi Orowojalu, MYP Labour youth representative for Enfield Southgate, Liberal Democrat candidate Paul D. Smith, and Green Party candidate Jean Robertson Malloy faced questions from the 3rd Southgate Scouts. The youngsters devised questions for the candidates about politics and the general election in May this year. Christina, aged 12, said, "I wasn't interested in politics before this evening, but now I realise it affects everyone and will watch the election with interest." Ali, aged 11, added, "I still think politics is quite boring, but politicians will decide my life and how I live in the future, so I will take more notice." The evening ended with a secret vote presided over by a polling clerk with ballot papers. The outcome was a landslide victory for Labour Youth Parliament member Pemi Orowojalu, who received 48 votes. Mr. Burrows came in second with 11 votes, Mr. Smith 9 and Ms. Robertson Malloy 5. Scout leader Samantha Holder Lockhart said, "The Scouts were amazing. Even the 10 and 11-year-olds had questions and opinions. It was great to see the young people engaging in practical citizenship and being enthusiastic about what many see as a boring subject." Mr. Burrows said, "This evening was a great opportunity for the Scouts to engage with politicians on the issues and the election on their level."
Teenagers met their football heroes when they practiced their skills at Tottenham Hotspur's training ground. Students from the Premier League club's Education and Football Development Centre programme met Harry Kane, Ryan Mason and Christian Eriksen during the session at Hotspur Way. The programme has been rolled out at 6 colleges, including Barnet and Southgate College and the College of Haringey, Enfield and North East London, which offers academy standard football alongside BTEC qualifications. More than 550 people have taken part since it was launched in 2010, with 2 going on to play for professional football teams and more than 20 being offered trials at professional sides. Ross Embleton, a coach on the course, said, "It is a great way to offer teenagers not just a good standard of football, but a good education at the same time, and that is crucial. The system in the past has not been favourable to teenagers if they don't quite make the footballing standard, but we have seen an increase in the number of teenagers going into higher education, which is a tremendous compliment for our course. It was great for the students to meet the players who have come through the Tottenham Hotspur Academy, which has produced first-team players in past year." Mr. Embleton was also hopeful that the programme can be rolled out in more colleges across London, having been introduced in Harrow and Epping at the start of this academic year.
The Tories launched an attack on the council's budget for the new financial year with a broadside aimed at housing costs in the borough. The leader of the Conservative group, Terry Neville, hit out at the financial plans of the Labour administration during a meeting of the full council in the Civic Centre in Silver Street, Enfield. Singling out the council's in-house company set up last year to tackle the lack of affordable and social housing in the borough, Mr Neville said they chose to borrow £100 million over 5 years for their so-called Gateway scheme. They are buying houses in Enfield to deliver additional properties for the temporarily homeless, competing at the lower end of the market with young people who want to get on the property ladder. However, speaking to the Advertiser, Cabinet Member for Housing, Ahmet Okana, dismissed the accusation that the council was competing with first-time buyers. That is a false allegation, he said. The properties that we are buying as part of the Housing Gateway are not first-time buyer homes, they are family homes. Mr Neville said the council should be spending money on buying up housing stock, and added, "What would we do? We would spend some money purchasing houses, but we would be looking for properties far out of London." Mr Okana explained that where people were keen to move out of the borough, the council was helping them, but added that the authority had a moral duty to help out its residents. He said, "We don't want people to move out of the borough because we say they are not a drain on the borough. They have support networks here. They have families who can help them with childcare, and that means single parents, for example, can start getting back to work." While Mr Neville lashed out at the council's total spending on temporary accommodation of £33.2 million, Mr Okana pointed to the pressures that were being put on housing in the borough. He said, "When we have 10 to 15 families needing accommodation, sometimes we are forced to put them into accommodation where private landlords charge as much as £80 a night, but we're forced to pay that. We have a moral duty to the residents of this borough." He said that the only way of truly tackling the sums that the council was forced to pay would be to drastically increase the amount of social and affordable housing in the borough, so that the council was no longer at the mercy of the rising rents private landlords are charging.
A group of friends, relatives and Enfield fitness fanatics have raised almost £3,000 for a charity set up by a mum from Enfield to help children born with a rare condition. Liz Jones of Lancaster Road set up Microtia UK in September to raise cash for research into the condition, which affects about 1 in 7,000 children, and to establish a support and advice forum for parents. Liz's son Isaac was born with microtia, which results in underdeveloped ears and hearing difficulties. He wears a bone-anchored hearing aid to help him hear. Now aged 5.5, Isaac joined his mum, dad, uncles, aunts and head teacher at Lavender Primary School in Lavender Road, Enfield, Matthew Kleiner Mann, for a marathon 2-hour sponsored exercise session. The Insanity Fitness training session was led by instructors Verity Dent, Sarah Cockle and Susie Gazy from the Place Fitness and Dance Studio in Queen Anne's Place, Bush Hill Park, and was hosted by David Lloyd Centre in Carterhatch Lane, Enfield. Liz, an educational psychologist, said it was fantastic but exhausting. Insanity Fitness is an intense exercise class where you would ordinarily do 4 blocks of intervals, but we did 10. Of course, the whole 2 hours would have been too much for a young child, but Isaac did manage part of the class and helped to cheer on and motivate the rest of us. I started the charity because there was no support system in the UK. It doesn't trouble Isaac. He is perfectly happy, and we hope he will continue to grow up embracing his visible difference and hearing impairment with confidence. Our charity supports people with microtia to develop a positive self-image. I wasn't sure how many people would be interested in joining the fundraising class and was very grateful when about 40 people agreed to it, Liz added. We have got our AGM coming up and we will discuss exactly what the money will be used for then. But we are holding a London event for people affected by microtia in June, and we will be delivering workshops to new parents to offer support and advice about the condition. For more information about Microtia UK, visit www.microtiauk.org.
A series of free guided walks is being launched this month, showcasing the history, nature and wildlife of Trent Park in Cockfosters. Black Rainbow Events has released the dates for 10 walks taking place between now and October. The tours will be led by experts and include history, nature, survival, birdwatching and evening backwalks. Some of the dates last year drew crowds of more than 100 people. Black Rainbow Events Director Alan Metellus explained, "The beauty of these walks is not only are they free, but they bring a whole host of interesting subjects together in a really accessible way." Lord David Cholmondeley, great-nephew of Sir Phillip Sassoon, a previous owner of Trent Park, has been involved in designing the walks, along with historians Peter Stansky and Helen Fry. Visit www.enfield.gov.uk for more details.
As many as 1,000 mourners are expected to attend the funeral of an Edmonton woman who devoted her life to caring for the elderly. Pastor Daphne Marche of Baxter Road, who died last month, aged 79, set up the Grace Foundation 30 years ago. What started out as a humble Meals on Wheels service from the kitchen of her home developed into an organisation providing not only hot meals but also pastoral care, free health care advice and fellowship from a day care centre in Whitehall Street, Tottenham. The charity became a lifeline for the Afro-Caribbean community, and her efforts were recognised in 1998 when she was made an MBE for services to the elderly. She was extremely well respected, organising community initiatives that donated clothes, children's toys and household goods to the needy, said Paulette Youssef, one of her 7 children. Her funeral takes place at the New Testament Church of God in High Road, Wood Green, and she will be buried at Strayfield Road Cemetery in North Enfield.
4 men were arrested after burglars were caught on camera trying to break into a couple's home. The incident in Princes Avenue, Enfield Lock, was filmed on CCTV just after 3 a.m. on January the 27th. Cameras filmed 4 men attempting to force their way into the property using screwdrivers. 4 men were later arrested on suspicion of attempted burglary. Enfield Borough Council's Cabinet Member for Environment and Community Safety, Councillor Chris Bond, said, "This is an excellent example of the police and our CCTV operators working together to stop suspected criminals in their tracks. I'm incredibly proud of our CCTV team, and this result shows exactly how effective our operators are at identifying and helping to arrest suspected criminals."
We have now reached the end of side 1 of this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.